Hey sis, welcome to the Sisterhood, Soul, and Strategy podcast, a space for women building businesses that feel as good as they look. I'm Steph, a small town girl from Wisconsin with big dreams to positively impact the world. This podcast is from the heart, where we share real conversations about building intentional businesses that thrive in every season. And the best part, we talk both soul and strategy, and we wrap it all up in sisterhood. Because let's be real, business is more fun in community. So no matter your age or stage of small business ownership, you stumbled upon this podcast for a reason. Now, let's get to the good stuff. Welcome back to the podcast. I am so excited about today's solo episode, and I'm introducing a brand new short series that I'm rolling out this month in honor of 1 year of celebrating the launch of my book, Seasons of a Soulpreneur, out into the world. So this short series is called the Seasons series, and each week this month, we're going to break down one part from the book. And before I even dive into part one, which is what today's episode is all about, planting, I just want to share a little bit of behind the scenes of how I came up with the garden metaphor for the book. So I actually started taking up gardening and planting flowers when we bought our house back in 2020. Now, if you've read the book, you know that 2020 was my storm. It was one of my hardest years of not just business, but life as well. And I kind of joke half-heartedly that I felt like, well, if my business can't grow, maybe I could grow a garden instead. And it actually became just this incredible outlet for me to do something outside of work. I feel like in the early stages of entrepreneurship, I got so into my business and just I was so passionate about what I was doing that I really lost hobbies. I lost things to do outside of work that lit me up, that had nothing to do with, bringing in money and serving clients and building the business. And that's what gardening became for me. The other reason I love the gardening metaphor is that I realized through writing my book, and I didn't write it with the intention of the gardening metaphor. I just started writing about my journey of soulpreneurship, my seasons of starting my business when I was 20 years old and growing the business and scaling the business, in which I reached a lot of storms to then get to the other side of the harvest season. But I just started writing as an outlet, and I realized through working with my writing coach that there was seasons and cycles to my lived experience. And there's actually seasons and cycles to every stage of life and business. And what I love about the gardening metaphor in relation to business is that you can't actually get to the harvest season without planting, without growing, and you might even hit a storm before you hit that harvest. So I love the correlation of growing and nurturing a garden just like a business, because I will tell you, on year one of growing my garden, I didn't have a very big harvest. I probably only had a few things that actually grew well. And I learned through that, okay, what should I plant for next season? How should I plant it? When should I plant it? Should I start it from seed? Should I, get it sprouted first? Like all of those things came from learning over time, season after season, planting new seeds. And business is the same way. You're not just going to have this crazy abundant harvest year one. It is so rare. So I want you to remember that this is part of growing your garden and getting to that harvest season. You have to start with planting. So let's start there. Each part in the book, I start with a quote, and I love the quote from part one, and that is, "The day you plant the seed is not the day you eat the fruit. Be patient and stay the course." Fabian Fredrickson. And this is one of the hardest parts of this season. So, the planting season is so exciting. It's all about vision and energy and hope and seeing what is possible. It's about dreaming big. And you start this season with so much passion, so much excitement for what you see possible. But there's also challenges to every single season. And the biggest challenge in this season is doubt, uncertainty, and impatience. So, doubt because you're doing something you've never done before. You really, truly have to humble yourself in this season of planting because you're going back to being a beginner again. It doesn't matter how many years of experience you have doing XYZ, you are starting something new. So there's that self doubt, there's that uncertainty because you can't actually see the path in front of you. And that is really hard too. And then there's impatience because you don't actually know when or if the seeds you're planting are going to pay off. There's almost never a direct ROI in the planting season. We actually have to keep going and growing and weathering those storms and challenges to see the ROI of many of the seeds that we are planting in this season. So, a little bit about my planting season. I started with such humble beginnings, and that is the main purpose of this part is being willing to start something new and being willing to put yourself out there in an uncomfortable way and say, I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm going to try anyways. I had a very humble beginning. I was 20 years old, college student, broke, no money, but so much energy, vision, and ambition. I was teaching fitness and yoga classes for fun when I got a call one day from a local mixed martial arts gym saying, hey, we have this extra space upstairs. Do you want to come teach your classes? We've heard good things about them. Do you want to rent it? That was the beginning of my studio. Now, it would have been really easy to one, not start a studio or to think I need the best, fanciest space. I need it to look a certain way. I need to have all this equipment. I need to have essentially level 10, chapter 10 for my level or chapter 1. And I see so many small business owners make this mistake. They don't want to start messy or start at that kind of lower level and humble themselves and kind of, quiet their ego and start at a place that makes sense, just starting with what they have. They want what they see, maybe their main person they're looking up to or a competitor or what they see on social media. They want that as their chapter 1. And I'm sorry, it just doesn't work like that. You actually have to have that big goal. Like, don't lose sight of that vision and goal, but you have to grow into that goal. You can't carry the responsibility, the financial strain, and you don't have the wisdom or experience to hold that level when you are first starting. So my first point would be to start small. Dream big, but start small because you have to start somewhere. And most of the time, we want to start where we see everyone else already is at, but we don't have the experience to start there. We have to humble ourselves enough to say, I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm here, I'm trying, I'm going to figure it out. But I have to start and do things a little bit messy. And I have to actually understand that I have to earn that big vision and dream and next level. It shouldn't be just handed to us. There's no such thing as an overnight success. We have to earn it. And that starts by saying, I am willing to put myself out there and possibly fail just to learn and then keep going and growing. And I have literally failed more times than most people have even tried. And that's why I've been able to get to where I'm at because I wasn't worried about failing or what people would think of me. Yes, there's some of that in the back of my mind always. That's human nature. But we have to say, I'm going to do it anyways. I'm going to try more times than anyone else, and I'm going to keep coming back and I'm going to get back up again. Hey, it's just me here interrupting the podcast to tell you about my favorite cup of tea and why this is such a ritual for me daily. I love the Rosarium from Inner Garden Botanicals, pouring it from my little tea brewer here. And for me, this just brings presence, peace, and calm to my day. It's a really simple yet essential piece of my evening routine. And I've even started drinking it more throughout the day, which, if you know me, I've always been a caffeine addict. And so this forces me to reduce my caffeine intake, slow down, enjoy, and savor this beautiful cup of tea. I love the loose leaf blends from Inner Garden Botanicals, and I absolutely love everything that this company stands for, which is all about rituals, presence, peace, which is what I'm all about, and how we can support ourselves in the seasonalities of life. If you want to try out Inner Garden Botanicals, you can get 20% off your first order when you use my code SOULSISTER20 today. Cheers to bringing in some incredible rituals into our day today that support us and ground us in the present moment, like Inner Garden Botanicals. Hey, it's me interrupting the podcast because you need to know about one of my favorite organic skincare brands. And bonus, it is a small business, and that is Simple in Nature. I am obsessed. I started using the Simple in Nature organic body oil a couple years ago in the winter when my skin was so disgustingly scaly dry. And I had tried every lotion that I could think of. And I met Sabria and she was like, you need to try the body oil. And I'm obsessed. I barely skip a day. It is amazing. My personal favorite scents are Harmony or her current newest scent, which is Serene. It is lavender, vanilla, eucalyptus, and thyme. And honestly, I use this every single day along with my lip oil. And I use my sugar scrub a couple times a week to keep my skin hydrated, nourished, and healthy, not just in the winter, but all year long. If you want to try out your first order, head over to simpleinnature.com with the link in the show notes to get 20% off using my code STEPH20. And that was another chapter story that I shared in the book from this part, was turning a setback into a comeback. We all have these moments where, yeah, we're going to stumble, we're going to fail, we're going to fall. But what are you going to do off of that? What are you going to do next? How are you going to use that as a lesson learned to then pivot and either do something else or to just get back up and try again? We have to build our muscle of resilience for the small business journey in the planting season, because the planting season is not the hardest. It's the most fun. It's the most energizing. So if we think it's hard in the beginning, it is only going to get more challenging. Too often we think that as we grow, as we get to that next level, as we get to those harvesting seasons, that life and business will just feel easier. But it doesn't ever get easy. We just get better at handling problems, challenges, people, scaling, balancing life and business. Business never gets easier. And this is why, not everyone is cut out to be an entrepreneur. Not everyone is cut out to be a small business owner, because you have to be able to hang in there, to come back to your passion, to keep getting up after you get kicked down, after you want to quit, to keep going and growing anyways. One of the other themes in this chapter is being willing to put yourself out there and get uncomfortable and get visibility and actually start beta testing things. Too often we start businesses out of passion, but we don't actually know if the market supports that purpose, that vision, that mission for our business. I see way too many entrepreneurs that don't do any sort of market research. They don't do any sort of beta testing. before they go all in, before they spend a bunch of money, before they get the certification, before they buy the building, before they invest in their dream. We have to actually make sure that the market, the consumer of who we're trying to help and serve, actually wants what we're creating and in the way that we're creating it. So where you want to spend your time and energy in this season of planting is actually in a lot of beta testing, a lot of market research, a lot of testing and trying and, again, failing and figuring it out and trying something new and getting back up again. So before you create the course or, invest in the creation of that product and buy all the inventory or sign the lease on the brick and mortar, before you do those things, what is the most basic beta test you can run that's not going to cost you a bunch of money to understand the mindset of the consumer you're trying to serve? Whether it's a business owner or, just more of a client, consumer, B2B or B2C, do they actually need what you're offering? Have they told you? In what way do they want to take it in? Like asking a million questions, sitting down for coffee, doing things for free. Yes, for free in the beginning. I cannot tell you how many things I have done for free over the years, even still, because I am still learning. I am still beta testing. I am still trying to put myself out there to understand how I can serve the people that need me. Now, I will say I do a lot less things for free now, being almost 14 years in. But anytime you're doing something brand new, you're launching something new, even as a business, you don't have any proof. And it doesn't matter necessarily what your experience is in your corporate career or what you did for, 10 years prior. Yes, that wisdom and experience comes with you into whatever you do next, but you're also still starting over. You're building a business, you're building trust, you're building relationships, you're building experience. And we have to humble ourselves enough to say, I'm willing to do this at a discounted or free rate to start because I need experience working with my actual clients, hands-on experience. If I am trying to be a coach, but I've never coached anyone before in this way, and I'm launching it as my new business, you best believe I'm not going to be charging my worth at $2,000. And too often I see so many people trying to get into entrepreneurship and launch a business and charging these super high rates when they have no experience as a business owner. Yes, you may have experience as a therapist. You may have experience in your corporate career. You may have experience doing XYZ prior to your business. But if you have no experience as a business owner and you're launching this thing for the first time, then we need to humble ourselves to say, I just really need to get clients so that I can figure out what people need, how I can help them, and also figure out, is that the way that feels good for me? I don't want you to build a business around just what your clients want and need, but I also want it to feel good for you. I want you to enjoy doing the thing that you are doing to help them. So this planting season can be so much fun, so much joy, so much passion, so much energy, and can also have a lot of frustrations of saying, when is it going to pay off? When is it going to be my time? When is my schedule going to be full? When are clients going to be chasing me and banging on the door? Too often we think that we open a business and everyone's just going to come running to us. I wish it was that way. It would be so much easier. It would save us so much time and energy and frustration and impatience. But that is why we need to be in it for the long game. We need to enjoy it. We need to keep that passion, that light, that spark that we have in the beginning in the planting season actually needs to come with us into every season. And that's why the planting season is so essential. What you start with is probably not going to be where you end up going. It's probably going to change. It's going to evolve. Your business is going to evolve. Your services, your products are going to evolve. You might evolve completely into a new business like I have. But we all have to start. We will have nothing. We'll have no journey if we're not willing to plant the seeds in the beginning, to do the hard work, to do the uncomfortable things of putting ourselves out there, of getting visible and possibly doing things for free just to gain experience and exposure. And I know that is controversial. Like, we should never do anything for free. I completely disagree. Because if you're playing the long game, it's not really free. For example, I still do a lot of speaking for free, but I look at every single one of those opportunities as a way to plant a seed for something to be sold in the future. Maybe I get to sell some books. Maybe I get to, get some members in my program. Maybe I sell some tickets for Summit. Maybe I sell a chapter. Technically, yes, I'm speaking for free often, but I don't see it that way. And that is the mindset that we all need to have in any stage, but especially the planting season, when we need to just get our name out there. We need to get our foot in the door. We need to build relationships, because you never know when that free opportunity where you met that person and had that conversation and made that connection is going to lead to a paid transaction, a paid relationship, a paid person wanting to work with you. I've seen it happen over and over and over again. I see this happen in both of my businesses, where people flow in and out, from real estate to Sister Circle to back and forth to buying my book to listening to my podcast to coming to my event. It literally doesn't matter when you are focused on the vision, the mission, which my mission is to positively impact as many people possible. When you're focused on the vision and the mission, the relationships are going to come full circle. The seeds you plant are going to create a harvest. They are going to pay off. But the problem is you don't know when. And that is why you play the long game as a business owner, as an entrepreneur. And if you don't have that mindset from the beginning, it's going to be hard to keep going. You're gonna hit roadblocks. You're gonna get frustrated. You're going to want to quit so many times on this journey. And I'm just being so honest with you, because I've wanted to quit a lot of times. Heck, I should have been down and out by now. There are at least 5 to 10 really crisis moments that I shouldn't have gotten back up and kept going. Like, the smarter choice would be to go get a regular job and some stability. And I made the commitment to the long game, though. I said, this can't be it. There has to be more, because I decided there's good things that come from challenges. There's good things that come from free events that I speak or teach at. There are good things in every seed that I've planted. And that is what I want you to get out of part 1. It is the foundation, not just for the physical seeds of the clients and the business and the sales to come, but it's the physical seeds of the mindset, of the long game, and the resilience that you need to keep going on your journey and have fun along the way, because you never know when a seed coming to fruition is coming right around the corner. I hope you enjoyed this episode. I'm so excited to walk through each part with you this month. And next week, we will dive deep into the growing season. Hey sis, if this episode spoke to you, make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss our weekly conversations that drop every Monday. And would you share this with a fellow sister that needs to hear this message too? If you're craving sisterhood, soul, and strategy in action, I'd love for you to step inside our Sister Circle community, where we gather, grow, and build intentional businesses together in real life and real time. I promise business is more fun in sisterhood. Until next time, keep leading with soul, honoring your season, and don't forget, I'm always cheering for you.